In this video, I'm looking at the IKKO Heimdallr ITB03. Now, I've got no idea how this word is pronounced. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that. So from now on, I'll just call it the IKKO ITB03. Now, this is a portable Bluetooth amplifier, and let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. Now, inside the box, you get the ITB03. You get a USB-C to Lightning short cable. You get a USB-C to USB-C short cable, and you get a longer USB-C to USB-A cable. And of course, you get your user manual and warranty. Unfortunately, there's no case inside. There's no case or cover inside, which is a little unfortunate considering that, glass front and back panels. So, although to be honest, I've been treating this thing not too gently. It's just been thrown in my pockets, it's thrown on the table, and it's holding up really well. So apart from the fingerprints, can't really complain. So the price of this one is $142. And inside we've got dual AK4377 DAC chips. So if you are familiar with the AKM DACs, that velvet sound, we've got dual DACs in here. And it is, of course, a Bluetooth device running Bluetooth 5.0. And yes, it does support those high-res wireless codecs such as LDAC and aptX HD and aptX LL, etc. So how does it work, you ask? Well, you turn it on, you plug your earphones into there, or the balance. You got 3.5mm single-ended here, 4.4mm balanced on that side, and then you turn it on, you pair it with your phone, and look, you've got wireless audio. Now, it's got 4 buttons on the side. One of them is your power on and off, and that also opens the menu. And then you've got your volume up and down, and of course, and your function button here, which acts as the play button, except when you're in the menu, and then you can navigate around. I will turn it on. You probably won't see it real well under the light, but there it is. It's got an OLED display on the front, nice yellow color, and it's going to flash like that until I pair it with my phone. So let's do that real quick. All right, there we go. Now we are connected, and you can see some of the useful, well, hopefully you can see some of the useful information you get on the display. It tells you the connection method, whether it's USB or Bluetooth. Shows you your battery level, then your current sample rate, your volume, playback mode, paused at the moment. One thing interesting about this little display is it actually tells you the name of the song that's currently playing. So I find that to be pretty handy. And down here it's got the which mode you're in. Now I'm in the music mode at the moment, which is a little bit misleading because that just means Bluetooth mode. If you want to use it as a USB DAC, you have to go into the menu, which you do by holding the power button down, cycle through the system, through the menu until you get to this screen. Now, music is a bit misleading. Music basically means Bluetooth. Hi-Fi is what you need if you want to use this as a USB DAC. So keep that in mind, otherwise you might get rather frustrated like I did until I did the wiser thing and pulled out the manual to have a read. So yeah, all this useful information on the screen here. There are 4 different digital filters to choose from, and that's pretty much how it works. Oh, by the way, there is an NFC logo on the back there, so you can do touch pairing if you don't want to do it the other way, which is just as easy in my opinion. So it's got this gorgeous design, except for the fingerprints. Hang on, let me clean that a bit for you again. So it's got this gorgeous design. It's got nice tactile playback controls on the side there. And in terms of output power, it is a little bit lower than some of the competition. From the single-ended output, it's only 32 milliwatts at 32 ohms, which is pretty low. And then from the balanced output, you're looking at 125 milliwatts at 32 ohms. Now, although those numbers might seem a bit low, don't be dismayed. That's more than enough for pretty much any IEM you could imagine, and it's also enough for most sensible headphones, including my 250 ohm Beyerdynamic DT990 Pros. So unless you've got something really demanding like a hardcore planar magnetic headphone or something, this will drive anything you throw at it. With my DT990 Pros, there's still heaps of headroom left. I do use it in high gain mode with those headphones, but yeah, still I'm only at not even, well, probably about half volume, I guess. In terms of battery life, you're looking at around 8 hours, which is about average, maybe slightly lower than average. And the unit takes like 1.5 hours to charge fully. There is a setting in the menu actually, when you are plugged directly into your phone, for example, or laptop, there is an option to disable charging so it doesn't drain the battery of the source that you plugged into. So that's a nice feature to have. And I've probably forgotten to mention some stuff about how it works, but I think I've covered most of it. You can, by the way, you can simply turn the display on and off just like that. I found that doesn't really make much difference to the battery life at all, so it's nice to have. Actually, when using this as a USB DAC plugged into my computer, I found it really handy to have that display always on. So in terms of the sound, like I mentioned earlier, some people might be familiar with the IKKO DACs. Similar, it's been used in similar devices, including the FIO M5 and the 7Hz 71 dongle. The DAC chip utilizes AKM's Velvet sound technology and promises to deliver a faithful recreation of the original experience as if you were there, according to AKM's website, that is. But what I'm hearing, there is a slight lift in the bass that gives sound fullness without giving up any details. Mid-bass notes are tight and punchy, and the sub-bass has a smooth but deep rumble. Apart from that, you're looking at a fairly uncolored sound, pretty neutral from top to bottom, except I think there's just a slight lift in the bass there. The soundstage on this player it's not particularly wide, but it does have good forward depth in the soundstage, and it does have good layering, and that leads to some really nice imaging. Although that soundstage isn't especially large, you get some nice strong positional cues in the soundstage. Great imaging in that regard. In terms of tonality, it sounds really great. Got those AKM chips, which always do sound lovely in my opinion. There's not a whole lot more to say about the sound as such. You got that deep sound stage. You've got a slightly elevated but very nicely controlled and tight bass, and good tonality, good timbre throughout. It's really going to depend on which earphones or headphones that you plug into it, the quality of the sound that comes out. But as far as, it supports LDAC, so it does up to 96 kilohertz wirelessly, which is basically lossless. If you plug it in and use it as a USB DAC, you can actually get up to 32-bit 384 kilohertz, which is crazy. Like in comparison, the Shanling UP4 here, I think this is only, from memory, I can't remember, maybe only 16-bit in wired mode. So while it's here, let's do a quick comparison. Obviously, the UP4 is smaller, it doesn't have a display. One thing I do prefer about the UP4 is the voice prompts that it gives you. When you power the unit on, it will say power on, and then it'll say pairing, and when you connect to your device, it'll say connected, or your headset is connected. And then finally, there's a voice prompt when you power it off, and that's something that I miss on this one. Also, I missed it on this one. I'll show you something regarding this one in a second. Yeah, so I really wish it did have those voice prompts, or at least some kind of audible prompt, because I want to know if it's in my pocket. I'd love to be able to just reach in and turn it off and get some audible feedback to let me know that it's turned off. One other thing that reminds me of this, doesn't have an auto power off feature, which is something that the AudDirect Beam 3 Plus or whatever it is, this also did the same thing, no power off. And that leads me, it concerns me a little bit. I don't think it'll be a problem with this, but look, check this out. This device has actually been in the box since I did my review, and I pulled it out just now to do a comparison with the IKKO here, and it seems to have exploded at some point. I don't know what happened. I'm guessing the battery has swelled up and now I can't close it back in. So if you've got one of these, just be careful. I might just have a lemon. It might not actually be a swollen battery, but for whatever reason I can't get it closed again. So that's disappointing. Keep an eye out for that one. We'll put that to the side now. Back to the UP4. In terms of sound, like, I think the UP4 sounds a little more neutral, whereas this one has just a little touch of extra bass thrown in. This one sounds more like the original UP4. This one is the 2022 version. But in terms of usability, you get those audio prompts with this one. It's only got one single button and wheel for all your controls, whereas this one's a little bit more substantial, I guess you could say. And in terms of sound quality, there's very little separating these two, but if I had to choose one to use every day as I do, I would still take the UP4, and that is because I just love its power off feature as well as those audio prompts, and it's just a usability thing rather than a sound thing, which makes me prefer this one. Oh, and it's got just a slightly bit more battery life, but almost negligible. But anyway, let's wrap it up there, guys. That is the IKKO ITB03. I think it's a pretty sweet little device. Actually a really good option if you want something that you're going to use on the desktop as well as on the go. So that higher bitrate when you're plugged into USB and that OLED display really makes a difference when using it as a desktop device. So keep that in mind. And you know, it's good to see IKKO stepping up to the plate in this Bluetooth segment. And I hope to see more of their stuff in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it the old thumbs up, Parfam audio file style. And if you're new here and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later.